For those of you that don't know, I haven't played with stairs for over 2 years now. Instead, I've been using a permanently edited U-ramp. Now, I didn't make this change to confuse enemies or because I just wanted to mix it up. I did it because I thought it was a more effective way to play the game, and still do. I've made videos in the past showing how it works, but I get many of you still have unanswered questions, so that's my goal here. To answer your questions and clarify as best I can how this works. But surely I will have missed some things, so if after the video you still have questions, ask them in the comments and I'll make a follow-up video clarifying more. The first question that I get the most often is how I do 90s, retakes, and take height in general. And it makes sense considering that's one of the ramp's main purposes. So for 90s, it's actually exactly the same as with U-ramps, you just do left 90s. The top right part of the U-ramp is exactly the same as with a normal ramp, and that's the only part you use when 90ing, so it's exactly the same. For ramping, instead of ramps, I place a cone and edit it up each time. This does make the cone have slightly less health, but when you're worried about getting shot out, you now have the added ability of being able to place a U-ramp over your wall before placing the cone, making it even stronger than normal ramps. They now have to break 3 layers instead of 2 to chop you out. Now for retakes, everyone has their own preferences. Some people want flashy ones, some people want protected ones, some people just want ones that use the least mats. But most retakes are just made up of some combination of side jumps, triple edits, and 90s. You already know the 90s, so to do side jumps, instead of placing the walls, then turning around to place a floor and ramp, after placing the walls, I place the floor and U-ramp, then turn around while resetting it. And instead of triple edits, I do quad edits where you edit up the cone. Now whenever I say that, you're probably thinking quad edits are much harder than triple edits, but it's really not much harder when you do it all the time. Everyone feels like triple edits are so hard when first learning them too, and then over time it becomes just as natural as any other mechanic. The same is true for quad edits. And up until this season when they swapped the servers, I played on 45 ping, so I don't want to hear, oh, your 0 ping is different. My last video actually shows how to edit faster on high ping, but let me go to the next question that's all about box fighting. That's when you're aggressing, defending, in-games, and everything in between. This is where U-ramps differ the most from normal ramps, but it's also where you gain the most advantage. When aggressing, there are 3 ways to approach, from straight on, diagonally, and above. Depending on your situation, you want to use different ones. If you're in a normal fight where you hit them and they need to heal, you'll set up from above. A U-ramp towards them, a floor you'll edit out of the way, and another U-ramp facing left next to their wall. The fold of the U-ramp is your protection, and if either you get the wall and edit, or the enemy tries to edit and shoot you, you jump to the left, shoot and reset the floor. When done correctly, your body is never visible to shoot. If it's say an in-game where you're fighting on low ground, or you're in a building, or for whatever reason neither of you really have the option to go up, it's perfect for the other 2 approaches. From straight on, you just place a U-ramp facing their wall. It allows you to take their wall without them having any angles to shoot you from. Once you get the wall, make a wide edit and use the right hand from the U-ramp to get safe shots. From diagonally, instead of a cone in your box, you place a U-ramp like this, and it'll be your right hand peek. If they edit on you while you're taking their wall, you have 2 options. If they're making a safe peek, you can just crouch or move to the left and they can't hit you. You could also reset your wall like you would with the cone, but there's no need. But once you get the wall, or if they make an unsafe peek, use the U-ramp just like you would a peanut butter peek, and jump, shoot, then reset the wall. When on the defense, I'll start with the normal box with a cone in it as usual, but if they're pressuring and I need to make a new box, I make it with myself on a U-ramp. Good players will always approach from counterclockwise to give themselves the advantage, so when they approach it'll be from this wall where you have the right hand peek from the U-ramp. Okay, it's getting kind of complicated, so I think I'm going to have to make the whole box fighting topic its own video. So let me instead talk about the most important question. Why change it at all? Like, what's the reason for changing it in the first place if everyone uses regular stairs already? So Fortnite has 4 building pieces, but only 3 areas to place them within the building grid. You can place builds along vertical edges with walls, along horizontal edges with floors, and inside tiles with stairs and cones. Stairs and cones are the only 2 build pieces that share the same space, and yet by default we choose to use the only version of the stair that can already be replicated with a cone. Every other edit of a stair is unique and cannot be made with a cone, except the default stair. So since the cone can already cover most of what you're using the stair for, why not change your stair into something more useful that can build over walls, allowing you to get piece control where you otherwise wouldn't be able to, and block off enemy tarps in-game to create space, and block exits from enemy boxes, forcing them in the direction you want, and give you better angles in box fights, etc, etc. Essentially, the stair seemed redundant and limits the skill ceiling, so I switched to the version I felt was the most useful, the U-ramp. Now to be clear, if you're thinking about switching, this isn't like changing a few binds where you take a bit of time to relearn your muscle memory and then you're good. You have to be ready to relearn so many aspects of your gameplay, and you'll have to get a deeper understanding of the way the building grid functions. But I get it's hard to imagine without seeing it in real games, so I'm gonna start streaming on this channel, and I'm starting a Discord server to make it easier for all of us to communicate. After all, I'm only one person, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of you come up with stuff that I haven't even thought of yet. There's only one other person I know of that plays with this, and he actually made it all the way to Surge Week in last season's FNCS. He goes by Jetstream if you're interested in checking him out. I'll leave it in the description under the Discord link. Now if you still have questions, let me know in the comments or turn on bell notifications so you can catch me live on stream. Farewell.